Joy is prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you catch souls. Mother Teresa. Joy. That's my friend Rich. Rich began his living in the corporate world, but there came a point in his life when he knew this isn't what he really wanted to do. After much prayer and conversation, he decided it was finally time to follow his calling. He began his life as Pastor Rich. It was 3 short years later that our paths crossed when he became pastor of the church I attended in Rock Falls. It was clear from that first day that Rich was a man full of God's joy and grace. It was also clear that he had a special place in his heart for the kids. In his first week in Rock Falls, he jumped in with both feet by leading the children's Bible stories in Vacation Bible School. The way his face beamed when he shared those scriptures with the kids still brings a smile to my face today. Each day, the kids would edge closer and closer, captivated by the way he talked with them about God. This was the beginning of 5 years of love, joy, and celebration with the kids. It was clear to all that Rich and the kids had a special bond. Until I met Rich, I'd never met a person with such a joyful, humble attitude. He begins each day with his alone time with God, thanking God for that day and rejoicing. Then he begins his humble walk with God. When he lived in Rock Falls, he would walk through the neighborhoods and the downtowns, sometimes to the riverfront, actually every day to the riverfront. And he would pick up garbage and he would greet strangers and friends alike. He'd spend time with some that were less fortunate at the riverfront each day. He'd spend time talking with them, not only about their problems, but also reassuring them that God does love them. He led them to find comfort and joy in God and themselves, something they hadn't experienced for a while. Seeing potential in all people and making no qualms about working with people from all walks of life is another joy of knowing Rich. He happily works with all, no matter their challenges. He invites all people to join him in praising God. He'll equally engage in a meaningful conversation with a person of the street or a member of the congregation. He's never too busy for those around him, bringing wisdom and comfort by his presence, prayers, and actions. Rich radiates a heart of service to God and to others. More than one person has been drawn into conversations with the question of, what if? Only to find themselves happily working to make that what if a reality. That's how Bare Necessities Personal Care Pantry was born. When conversations become reality, Rich readily gives accolades and celebrates a job well done. In today's scripture, we hear about a person named Rhoda who was so excited that Peter had arrived that when she answered the door, she left him standing there and ran to tell everybody else that he was there. I imagined what it would have been like if Pastor Rich had been the one to answer that door. I imagine he would have been so overjoyed to see Peter that he would have said, "Peter, come and sit with me. I know you've had a rough time, so tell me what's going on." Rich, wanting to hear all that Peter had to share, I'm sure, would have totally forgotten to tell anybody else that Peter had arrived. Rich has now moved on to other congregations and communities to spread his joy and love of God, yet he and I will always remain close friends. He touched my life those years ago, encouraging me to see the ability that I have to share my joy with those around me, serving others not only in my congregation, but also in my community. God has blessed me with many wonderful, impactful people in my life, but meeting Rich at a time when I just retired from my career sent me on a path I gladly choose to follow today. I asked Rich what Bible verse would best describe the way he lives his life. His answer? Micah 6, verse 8. What does the Lord require from you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God?